guys, so welcome back to my channel. This is kind of a part 2 of the last video that I made. I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but it's a video basically describing the fact that I live in a haunted house. Some of the stories that I'm gonna tell today have to do with this house, but are also completely unrelated and different. If you're new to my channel, my first name is Tatum, my middle name is Elisha, and it's not my last name. A lot of people think that it is, but it's not. Also, I know that you can see my ring light in the reflection of this fireplace, but I don't really care enough to adjust it, so just deal with it, I guess. So I'm gonna start right off by sharing a couple of things that happened here that I forgot to mention in my other video. The first one being that a couple of Halloweens ago, my grandparents had a bunch of animatronics set up all over their house because they have these giant Halloween parties every year, and they had this one that I didn't really ever get scared by. She was just this witch, and she was in the hallway, at the end of the hallway in my grandparents' house. I didn't think that she was spooky until we unplugged her, and she kept on just repeating the exact same thing over and over and over again, even when unplugged. And you know, maybe it was just a malfunction, but it scared me, and I have a little video clip that I can insert right here. So, she isn't plugged in. That's amazing. Another thing that's happened in this house is I constantly hear somebody knocking on my door, my bedroom door. So I'll just be sitting there on my bed and there's always somebody just knocking. And I'm always saying like, who's there? Come in. And nobody comes in. And then I go and open the door and nobody's there. And it happens so often, guys. Like I don't even... It spooks me. It's spooky. Can we all just admit it's spooky? It's spooky, okay? I think I've said that enough. Time to move on. The last thing that happened in this house that I didn't mention before, what was it? I don't know. You tell me, because I can't remember. Oh, my friend Gabby and I were playing life-size Five Nights at Freddy's, if you've ever played that game, and we played it in my grandparents' house because they have security cameras everywhere, so we thought it would be fun. And then we decided to cheat and look at the cameras, and we started realizing that the cameras were going dark one by one, so they were getting covered over by things, and it was really freaking creepy. And then we saw like a car pull up and just like stay there for a really long time and then just leave. Somebody's car got broken into too in the driveway of their house, and somebody was like outside in a van taping the house. So yeah, scary things have been happening here for a while, like haunting wise, and then like people that are scary wise. Moving on to other things that have not happened here but have happened to me that I am still scared by. So I had a Dora doll and her backpack that she came with. The backpack actually was the first thing that started scaring me long before the doll ever did. And it was scaring my dad too because he just kept on going off like all day. He would just randomly go off when nobody was touching the backpack. So my dad took out the batteries and that didn't do anything. And so then he cut the wires and the backpack still kept on going off and just talking constantly. We eventually just threw him away because he was terrifying. He just kept on talking and the batteries were out, the wires were cut, so a little spooky. Just a tad wee bit spooky. Then the doll, moving on to the doll. So the doll didn't work for years. She stopped working and she just stayed in a toy box in my room and I never moved her. She didn't really do anything and I left her in there for like 2 years. And then one night, in the middle of the night, I was laying in my room in my bed and the doll just said something about like playing with her, and it was this creepy low voice. And I'm guessing that's because when toys get old, their like battery life runs down and it makes their voice like slower and lower. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what I'm assuming happened, and it really scared me because that's the only thing she said. And then I like went and touched her after that and she didn't work at all. It was terrifying. That's all I gotta say about it. Then the next thing that I'm going to share with you guys is this cabin that I stayed in with my dad and my mom when I was 4. A lot of stuff went down in that cabin and it was freaking terrifying. Like that's probably one of the scariest stories that I have ever. So first off, my parents were just watching this cabin for a family friend, and they also had a barn at this cabin with a bunch of horses in it, which is part of the story. My dad would go feed them every morning and we would randomly just hear them neighing and like going crazy. So my dad would would go to check on them, and there was a cross on the front of the barn that would just be turned over. Every time he would go to check on the horses, the cross was always turned over. Then another thing that happened there, which might not seem that believable, but to me it was terrifying. I was laying in bed next to my mom, and I saw this dark, creepy cloak figure that was black, and it just scared the hell out of me. Like, I was so scared. I tried to wake my mom up, and I was like shaking her, and I was like, Mom, wake up, there's something in the room. And she wouldn't wake up, and so I closed my eyes like really tight, and then I opened them, and it was gone, and my mom woke up. Nobody ever believed this story because I was 4 and they thought that I was just imagining things, but I only really told it to my parents. I don't think that I ever mentioned it to anybody else for quite a while. Years down the road, I was with my cousin Zoe in a bathroom getting ready to go swimming, and she told me that a few years back she was in my grandparents' bathroom and she saw this creepy dark cloak figure, and she never told anybody about it. And then I heard the same story from Gabby, and none of us had ever shared that information with each other, so it was kind of freaky to me that we all saw the same thing. I don't know. I mean, yeah, we were little kids, but it's weird that we all saw the exact same thing and hadn't mentioned it to each other, so I don't know, freaks me out. And what's actually spookier to me about that story is if you've ever heard of the Midnight Man, it looks like him. He's a scary character in a horror movie and in a game. He looks exactly like the Midnight Man, and it's really weird because I don't really believe in the Midnight Man, but he looks like him to me. So there's that. And the last thing that I have to share, I don't really have a lot of other scary stories, so sorry this video might be a little bit shorter, but the very last thing is that there was this guy at this cabin that had previously hung himself. I didn't know that, obviously, because I was a 4-year-old, and no one was gonna share that information with me right off the bat because I was a little child. I was looking out of the window and I was just staring at this guy that I saw outside, and I was like, Daddy, who's that man? Because I saw this guy out there through the window, and it was freaking me out because he was just standing in front of the cabin. The guy had hung himself right in that spot that I was staring at. And I know that I'm not thinking of it wrong because my family still tells me it the same way that they told me it before. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Sorry this video is a little bit shorter than my other videos, and I'm not really a story time person, you guys know that. I just have some scary stories that I thought I'd share with you, and I thought you'd be a little bit interested in. This is not my usual type of content, nor will it be. Don't get too caught up on this being a normal thing. Have a great day, stay safe, don't let the coronavirus get you. I know this is freaking insane, this whole coronavirus thing. Like, I don't even know what's going on, to be honest. I feel like this is the freaking apocalypse. Like, I don't know, I feel like by the end of this, we're just gonna be in like Zombieland or something. I don't know. Don't know where I'm going with this right now, so I'll see you later.